Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Avatar: The Way of Water. An interesting movie that, is the long-awaited, maybe, follow-up. I know loads of people are excited for this, and this video may come as a shock to you. It's a shock to me, actually. Not because I'm expecting it to do particularly well. I think it'll do fine. But I'm more surprised that the likes of Variety and mainstream media are painting not like a grim picture, but not overly confident either. Take all of this with a massive pinch of salt, but Variety are basically saying Avatar: The Way of Water is actually not going to be 2022's biggest movie. In fact, it's going to be less, domestically speaking, than the original film, which is interesting, mainly because a lot of mainstream media outlets really do bow at the altar of James Cameron, and this is a movie that I thought would do, quite well. But it's interesting what they're noting as the contributing factors as to why it won't, basically. So I thought we'd take a look at this together. I hope you're having a great weekend. Avatar: The Way of Water is set to earn less than Avatar, and it's unlikely to be 2022's biggest movie. Now, interestingly enough, part of the reasoning for all of this is actually 3D not being that great. People not, loving 3D. I remember when it came out, obviously Avatar sort of pioneered 3D technology, and it really did. It did. But it's not hugely popular. People like IMAX, don't get me wrong, but 3D, not massively popular. And I don't think that's necessarily just because the films that are in 3D are, not good. I think it's a combination of things. I think theatres don't make the 3D viewing experience particularly great. Over in the UK, you've got to buy your glasses. It's like, but I'm paying a premium for the film anyway. Give me my glasses for free. So there's all these sort of bizarre elements that make the 3D viewing experience not enjoyable before you even experience the actual 3D. And I do feel, as much as Avatar pioneered the 3D and really pushed it to its limit, I don't know whether it's that much of an engaging gimmick anymore. I mean, when I hear of a 3D film, I tend to actively avoid it. I don't want to watch films in 3D. Like, I am, pretty sternly against them, and I know a lot of people love them. Don't get me wrong, you're entitled, obviously, to your opinion on that. But I really deeply dislike them, and I know there's a fair few people that'll be watching this going, yeah, 3D's not for me. So it's interesting that one of the key reasons behind Avatar, the first one being such a huge success, is actually now touted as being one of the reasons why the sequel could fail. Or not fail, should I say, but fail to live up to the original's hype. So this is where it all comes from, by the way. It's this big sort of article from Variety, but we'll just get into the cliff notes of it. So Avatar was released in 2009, which is just madness to think. 2009, and now we're in 2022. It's a very, very late sequel. And obviously it came to positive reviews, and the sort of box office earning studio bosses would do anything for. Ultimately, the 3D blockbuster would go on to break every record imaginable, becoming the highest grossing movie of all time in the process. Now, it did briefly lose that title to Endgame. However, it did a re-release during the pandemic in China, and that saw James Cameron's film retake the #1 spot. And then last weekend, a remastered version of Avatar earned an additional 30.5 million. I think it's out again this weekend. I think it was 2 weeks only. However, obviously the film's dropping in December, but this is what they're saying. So according to Variety, the current projections point to the movie earning around $650 million at the domestic box office. Now that's good. That is good. But the original took $772 million. Now you've got to kind of read between the lines on these things. Why would Variety be thinking that Avatar, The Way of Water is not going to do very well? Why? Well, there's a few factors at play here. Buzz for the film. Buzz for the film isn't huge. It isn't huge at all. Now, everyone that you talk to typically will go, oh yeah, cool, yeah, Avatar, yeah, I liked Avatar, yeah, like, oh, it was a really nice world, yeah. And they're interested in it, but it doesn't generate the much conversational buzz as other films have typically done. Now that could be because, although the marketing has begun, it's not fully begun. Like, we're not getting, sort of feature-length trailers and loads of stuff and, interviews and all this kind of stuff. It does seem a bit bleak in the marketing department, doesn't it? Like, I mean, it's out in 2 months. Like, where's the marketing, Now, obviously, some people, that will be a breath of fresh air because loads of people think the marketing starts too early. 6 months is a typical marketing window, and then it ramps up. But this does seem awfully quiet, and so there's not a lot of buzz, and maybe that's why there's not a lot of buzz, because there's not that much marketing. But the other factor is there's not that much interest in 3D, and that is a major contributing factor here, apparently. So while Avatar: The Way of Water could exceed expectations, the fact that so many studios attempted to cash in on Avatar's success with lazy 3D conversions is what ultimately killed the format. You know what? I actually disagree. I just think the viewing experience isn't that fun. And I think as a novelty, people don't want to watch something with glasses on their face. I just don't think they do. Cameron obviously knocked it out of the park, or knocking it out of the park could bring people back, but I just don't think so. I honestly don't. I think people's interest in 3D is limited to, an era of time and the format being tested, and it's just not that great. But perhaps not enough people to help this sequel surpass the first movie? Sure. Interestingly, this predicted number also means that Avatar is unlikely to become the biggest title of 2022. That current title is held by Top Gun Maverick, which is awesome to hear. And it's crazy to hear it hit $1.5 billion worldwide. That's just madness. Again, no one expected that to do that. And then obviously they say Wakanda Forever is going to break box office records as well. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure loads of people come out to watch that. But again, from this article, the real take-home thing here for me was just predominantly Avatar not set to be a major keystone success. Not that Disney will mind too much, though, I don't think, because obviously they are the ones releasing Wakanda Forever as well as Avatar. But I think, again, what's most surprising about this is that it's just not going to do incredibly well, supposedly. And I wonder if this will put a damper on any of the sequels. We shall see. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Take care.